Welcome, acolytes. Today we're talking about Mujin's P. Diddy video. He probably has a few interesting things to say about it because he enforced himself pretty good about this stuff. Like really nicely. So, let's just see what he has to say or hear what he has to say.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party, or so you've heard. Because if you've been on the internet for the last month or so, you've definitely seen it being talked about
extensively, yeah. It came to the point where, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to do this before, like, at least most of the information isn't out. And I mean, for fuck's sake, this guy just disgusting.
Extensively. You've also no doubt heard about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that
Yep, I did. The fuck?
Were seized from multiple properties that Diddy owns back when they were raided by federal agents in March of 2024. And what doesn't help in all this is that you've probably heard of the federal indictment that was made against Diddy, and how a federal agent, as seriously as possible, referred to his parties as freak-offs.
I'm gonna be honest, if you have a legal definition of freak-offs, holy shit, you're deep in.
And control the performances, which he called freak-offs.
I'd say that's kind of the extent most people know about this.
Okay.
And many are laughing their asses about this. I mean, come on, dude. 1,000 bottles of baby oil, freak-offs in a legal context. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Come on, man. And I mean, it's understandable. All these things are really ridiculous. But Diddy right now is facing 3 indictments. Not 1 or 2, 3. And obviously, it's not because he owned 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Probably not. Maybe.
It's not a crime. Here are some of the things he's being charged with: sex trafficking, forced labor, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, and interstate transportation for
That's a lot.
prostitution.
That's a lot. Oof.
All falling in line with the major case he's being indicted with, which is a RICO.
Wait.
Racketeer influenced and corrupt.
What? Those wasn't even the major cases. What the fuck?
Corrupt organizations. This was something
okay.
created in particular to take down the mafias of New York, and it successfully did so.
Ooh, I didn't know that. That's actually... The guy must be in very deep shit. What the fuck? What did he even do? I mean, I seen the video where he... Let's just say, clapped the poor freaking woman. And by the way, if you are one of those people who says she deserves it or something like that, fuck you. Nobody deserves to be treated like a dog, like that. That's
destroying all the crime families by putting the head bosses all in prison for life. And now P. Diddy, otherwise known as Sean Combs, is being charged with it. That's huge. Make no mistake, he's a criminal of the highest degree. The things he's done are horrible, and he's done them over the course of 2 decades or more. But this wasn't done just by him. He didn't do it alone, no. This is why the charge is a RICO. This was an enterprise, an empire of evil. And it's all come crashing.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I love how he just puts this stuff out. This is beautiful, how this guy, and I mean Mujin with it.
Down. But to really understand the significance of this empire and where it came from, we have to talk about the very big elephant in the room. What the hell is a Diddy party? Let's do this. So look.
From what I heard, it is pretty much a celebrity meeting that goes out in drugs pretty much effing all around, and not necessarily willingly, for a few days. So, I mean, a few days.
Sean Combs, otherwise known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Love, Brother Love, the list goes on, is a very successful rapper, but also record label producer. He had established the beginning of his empire in the 1990s. He had signed artists such as Usher, Mary J. Blige, and of course, none other than Biggie Smalls, one of the most influential rappers of all time. This of course made him very successful. His own music career was also very successful, winning 3 Grammys. But before he even got into this business and was still in college, he already had a reputation of being an insane party thrower. He would have these massive parties with up to 1,000 people even before getting into the rap game.
What the fuck? This guy had money since he was a freaking young person. What the fuck?
So naturally, as he was gaining so much money and fame, he wanted to use this talent and bring it to the next level. And that's exactly what he did, starting as early as the late 1990s. These parties were absolutely wild. Part of the reason why Diddy had such a successful music career and label was because he understood what marketing meant. There are some articles out there before.
Yeah, this is something I still have to learn. Well, I have to actually learn the correct thumbnails. How can I produce them quick and easy? That's my most problem. Get my video model in case, and marketing, like sell myself, and the most important thing, contact. Building up contacts with other YouTubers, because I am stupid with that one. Not gonna lie. In real life, this is way easier. But chatting,
For 2024, calling his parties an art form. He had essentially taken a concept that everyone understands, which are parties, and elevated them. Here's an example. This right here is an image from one of his very famous white parties, where all the people who were invited had to wear the color white, otherwise they wouldn't be let in. At the time, this was something very new, especially for the hip-hop scene. It simply wasn't something anyone was used to, and it got people talking quite a lot.
I'm gonna be honest, this is something, if you have too much money, you do stuff like this. What the fuck? Really? I mean, if I am doing a party, or did, because I'm not doing parties anymore. This was a past thing. But for fuck's sake, if you did, like, you just want to have fun and maybe build up some contacts or something like that. But this degenerate behavior, I mean, it's already... Why would you do that?
Diddy had a talent.
And yes, I am actually pre-saying, because the shit I heard about him...
How to throw a good party and how to make everyone there feel like it's extremely exclusive. Word would spread of these parties throughout many social circles, and all of a sudden you had many people wanting to join them. You had celebrities such as Jennifer Lopez, Jay-Z was always there, Aaliyah, etc., etc. The list goes on. I mean, look, you have Will Smith, you have Bruce Willis sitting over here in a picture from 2004. Leonardo DiCaprio was at one of those parties in 1999. Many others were too. Everyone wanted to see what the hell a Diddy party was because...
Why?
Everyone spoke about them so highly. I mean, look at this image right here. He's eating a strawberry off of a naked woman's body. Like, this is something you would see in a movie, in a series, not in...
I mean, I gonna say it like this. I didn't do it on a party, but...
real life. At some point, he even managed to get royalty in his damn parties. You can see Kanye West with the royal princes of England at one of his parties. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Look,
it is.
by that point, a Diddy party wasn't just a party. If you were a celebrity in music, in acting, in whatever, you wanted, no, scratch that, you needed an invite to a Diddy party when it was happening. If you didn't get one, it simply meant that you were not relevant enough. You were not culturally significant enough to be in this party. So celebrities did everything they could to get their agent or manager to get an invite.
Okay.
But getting the invite was half the challenge. When you would get to his parties, he would have staff members outside examine your outfit. If your shoes were just a tiny bit dirty, if your outfit didn't make sense or didn't look good enough, if the brand you were wearing wasn't expensive enough, they would flat out tell you, you're not going in, leave.
Okay.
It didn't matter if your name was Kim Kardashian or Paris Hilton. You
Yeah, I mean, rich people stuff, basically, what the fuck?
showed up with an outfit that they didn't like, you're
No,
not...
the thing is, it doesn't even make sense. You get an invite to a party. And after you show up, of course, if you look like a freak, I understand that. But if you basically are just a bit off, you're gonna get kicked out. This is... I'm gonna be honest, if this happened with normal human beings, this would not be seen as something cool, but something extremely asocial.
not getting in. This is all part of the marketing scheme. It's highly exclusive, it's very hard to get into, and when you do get there, you feel very proud, like, wow, I made it. And in some way, you did. Diddy's parties were essentially seen like something out of The Great Gatsby. There's a lot of people these days who tell you to quote-unquote network to get to your dreams. They typically mean an expo or a job fair. Well, that's all bullshit. Real networking was something like a Diddy party. You would go there.
Yep. I know that maybe a lot of you will disagree with me because I have a lot of disagreement right there. You can go on job transfers, on stuff like that, on organization, and it's fine. You can find a lot of good things there. But if you really want to make money, you need to know the rich people. You really need to know rich people. Like this is, or you at least need to know the people who know how to get to the people that actually know how the game is played. So
as a good enough hip-hop artist, and all of a sudden you were seeing Wall Street executives, you were seeing business owners, you were seeing people with billions of dollars, you were seeing actors that you see on television at your home, and the music in the party that was playing on the speakers, the artist behind it was most likely in the party right in front of you as well. What Sean Combs had done was legitimize the hip-hop scene, was make it seem mainstream to people who would have seen it as ghetto, as dangerous. He made it attractive. He made people want to get to these parties, beg to get to these parties, and he loved it. This is why everyone wanted to be on his good.
yeah, I mean, this is a significant amount of power you got there. And especially what I assume is if somebody, because I heard the thing with the drugs, with the women and such, I think that the next point is if you have photos from celebrities that do this shit, you can pretty much just set them under the thumb.
Good side wanted to please him no matter what. Diddy had effectively created that environment. He had immense power to do anything he wanted. And as you might have guessed, he used that power in the worst ways possible. It didn't matter whether you were a celebrity or someone being human trafficked.
Yep, power corrupts, and it corrupts pretty hard.
He used his power to take advantage of everyone, and he did it for over 20 years. What do you call a party with a bunch of drugs, a van delivering victims of human trafficking and prostitutes across state lines, and a lot of IV to make sure that after having sex for 3 days, you don't die from malnutrition? Well, that's an easy answer, isn't it? You call it a Diddy party. But before we get into that, let's look at this lawsuit filed by Rodney Jones, otherwise known as Lil Rod, a music artist who was promised fame and fortune by Diddy, but instead ended up with trauma, PTSD, and overall a hell-on-earth experience.
Wait, Little Rock, isn't he actually quite known? Or relatively known?
This was filed on the 26th of February of the year 2024 against Sean Combs and many of his accomplices. It's 73 pages long, and guys, the content in there can probably traumatize someone who's innocent. I mean,
damn. Oh, fuck me.
This lawsuit literally has a trigger warning. That's it.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn.
Insane. There are many incidents in this lawsuit going back years ago, but there's one in particular I want to talk to you about. Diddy wouldn't just throw these big, lavish parties like his white parties for big, high-profile celebrities, he would also throw smaller parties. This incident was actually very recent, held on July 2nd, 2023 in California. Diddy had a listening party at his home. He invited an R&B artist, whose name is redacted, and of course, Rodney Jones. The event began at 7 p.m. Now, this time, Rodney had no idea what was going on. He was just invited by Diddy, and I mean, you don't say no to an invite by Diddy. There were many sex workers there, but more importantly, there were at least 5 women in the crowd that were under the age of 16, okay? Let me just read that again. At least 5 women were under the age of 16. Now,
oh, disgusting. Ugh. Well, I'm gonna be honest. It's disgusting, but expected at some point. But fuck me, a monster.
Of course, Rodney Jones, being a decent human being, saw that and was like, yo, this is screwed up. I don't want to be a part of this. It makes me very uncomfortable. He attempted to leave, but of course, Diddy forced him to stay. Rodney insisted. Diddy took away his car keys. Diddy then gave everyone in the room, including, of course, the underage girls, DeLeon liquor. The only thing to keep in mind here is that this wasn't normal liquor, it was spiked with something that would absolutely knock you the hell out.
Damn.
He forced...
I mean, I think this is the first step where he just says, nope, you're staying. If this information comes out, you're done.
Rodney to drink it too. He felt lightheaded, passed out. He woke up the next morning at 4 a.m., couldn't remember a single thing that happened last night, but that didn't matter. He was naked. He looked to his side and he saw a naked sex worker sleeping next to him. It wouldn't have taken a genius to understand what had happened, and it wasn't pretty at all. This lawsuit contains screenshots of a video from that night. In these screenshots, you can see Diddy and his son, who was also a part of this whole mess, interacting with underage girls.
Oh. You know what? We're focusing actually on P. Diddy. I hope his son gets also X'd. This is disgusting. Like, it's Epstein all over again.
One of these images is actually Diddy going for a kiss on the lips of one of these underage girls, but of course, their faces are hidden and I'm not going to show this on YouTube. I don't want my channel to get deleted. But believe it or not, things would get even messier, and this is something that Diddy would do repeatedly over the years with his many victims. Rodney did not want to be a part of this, but he was forced. He was promised by Diddy fame and opportunity in the music industry. He was invited to a listening party thinking that this could be a chance to network and meet other people. He was instead forced to engage in illegal acts, even though he wanted to leave. And guess what? Everything was recorded. So that meant...
As I said. Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? I mean, there are a lot of scumbags in this world. But if you... At least a handful of those people that actually went to those party are good, normal people, but if you go to a party like that, and then it comes out, hey, you did this, and this, you're fucked. You're oppressed. I don't know if he's innocent or not, but if this is true, damn.
If Rodney wanted to say no to anything Diddy wanted in the future, he could just blackmail him with the footage that was taken of him when he wasn't even conscious. I mean, this lawsuit alleges that Diddy attempted to pass off Rodney to one of his friends. His friend, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Holy shit. Oh my god. So it wasn't only the girls that actually got fucked. Oh my god.
Was obviously gay. Diddy was giving him Rodney like he was some sort of prostitute. And I should mention, he did not have Rodney's consent. In fact, Rodney had no idea what was going on. He was just being touched. He tried to back off as much as he could, but every time he backed off, Cuba would get closer to him. This is something that Jeffrey Epstein would do to his victims as well.
Yep. The same behavior. It's the power dynamic.
And the reason why I'm telling you this is
and yes, for those who didn't actually believe it, yes, even men can get freaking harpered on that. That happens to men. It's not just one or the other. And that's why you should come together and defend ourselves. All of us. Not against each other.
Because it does relate to his Diddy parties. Most of them were recorded digitally, and many were seized during the raids on his properties. This was a way to uphold his power, to make sure no one talks. These smaller scale parties would happen quite a bit, and they weren't just managed by Diddy, of course, it was also managed by his high-ranking staff at his multiple companies. This is why it's a RICO, right? This is an enterprise. There were many people that were involved here that would be helping him out to cover his tracks and to set up these terrible situations at...
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I hope every single one of these people gets punished. Because those people, I don't care, like Diddy, everyone who helped him, everyone who actually joined him in on purpose, they're literally acting like animals, for fuck's sake. What the fuck? I really hope every single one of them gets shafted. What the shit?
Numerous hotels around the country. Those 1,000 bottles of baby oil would be sent by these people to those hotel rooms. If the hotel room was damaged, they would help repair it. If there were any legal issues, they would help to pay them off or just straight up commit bribery. In 2016, there was footage that leaked to CNN of him beating up his ex-girlfriend pretty damn violently, and it leaked. He had paid the hotel $50,000 to keep this a secret, but they still leaked it anyway.
Good. Good they did. I think they only did it because it would probably leak itself at some point, but I am happy that they leaked it. If they leaked it, okay, then they are out. You're out. You're fine, in my opinion.
Thankfully. He then apologized for it, but I mean, come on. We know this is bullshit. He said he was going to therapy, he was trying to better himself. No, you're not. This is something you've been doing for over 2 decades.
Exactly. Exactly. If he did this once and recognized that he's a monster and actually fixed this, this wouldn't escalate this much. But after 20 years, does any one of you acolytes really believe that this monster will change after 20 years of repeatedly doing this and probably way worse and getting away with this? And he will change suddenly from today about over a certain time? No. He should get just kept away from humanity until he dies and rot in the prison until he just pops out. Let the people forget him. Because this isn't normal. This is... Oh, wait, isn't the death penalty in America open? Or where is PDD? I don't know. Okay, if there's a death penalty, then yeah, okay. Please, thank you.
In a way.
Because I'm gonna be honest right now, I do not care about the freaking criminals that actually do this shit. I do not give a fuck about them. If they harm other people, if you harm other people, you're done. It's done. You should be ejected out of the lives of others. You shouldn't even get a chance of repeating your shit.
One could say that Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Combs were 2 apples from the same tree. 2 things were different though. Number 1, the clientele. Epstein went for world elites. Combs went for celebrities, but not the ones who control the entire world order. And 2, Epstein tried to hide it, even buying an entire island to seclude his activities. Diddy would let his ego get to him, and he wouldn't be as low-key as someone like Epstein.
No, that's irrelevant. Because the parties were seen as something positive. If somebody spoke up, people would be like, you're jealous, that's all. I think the thing he did, how he handled this, the entire thing, it was perfect. As someone who's like a scumbag as he is, it was exactly how he should have done it. I wish he got caught sooner, but hey, life just isn't this way.
2002, he had an interview with Conan O'Brien on national television. Here's what he had to say about his parties. Watch.
Okay, now, we need alcohols.
Right.
Alcohols.
Right. Not just one alcohol.
Alcohols.
Right, just a
Plurals.
different blend. You need
Blends.
the ladies, you need the booze.
You need some water.
For watering plants?
No, I don't know if guys have noticed this, like, a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They
Right.
just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta
right.
keep them there.
Right.
No shit.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah.
rock with me, but just
Right.
check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of
Heat.
heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
That just sounds
Oh my fucking god. I mean, as I see it, it's actually quite genius. So he actually did this this is my theory, to make it even more disgusting if it comes out. So you don't just have some criminal things on your person, but also some really disgusting shit. Okay?
Disgusting. What are you talking about?
Depends on the way you look at it.
Depends. Oh, people
Yeah.
start getting gets kind of sexy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you sex.
People didn't really know at the time, but here he was explaining a typical freak-off. And he went into painful detail as to what he would do to seduce women, making sure there's multiple types of alcohol, turning off air conditioning so they sweat their asses off, and having locks on the door. He revealed this on national television, and it was 22 years ago. Look, the reality here is simple. He would make his guests get really drunk, or even better, spike their drinks. It would make them delirious and docile. If they didn't like it, they couldn't escape. Sometimes his guests wouldn't need to be docile, they would be very much into it. He would only need to spike the drinks of the prostitutes and the human trafficking victims so that
Oh, for fuck's sake, this is getting worse by the second.
they remain docile. His guests would then have their way with them. The parties would last for days. We're not talking just one night, up to 3 days sometimes of just straight up debauchery. IV would then be taken out to be given to the prostitutes, to the people who were human trafficked over here, so that they, don't die. This is absolutely crazy. The fact that they needed IV to be able to recover from how much debauchery they went through. This is what Rico is all about. Diddy had an enterprise for this. He had ways to source victims of human trafficking to show up to any party he wanted or any hotel room he wanted. It was an entire enterprise dedicated to one thing and one thing only, the pleasures of one extremely fucked in the head pervert.
You're nice about it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see this. I don't see this person as a human being. It's an animal. And we should treat him exactly like we do with animals if they got out of their way to bite someone. Sleep. Done.
Sean Combs. However, this criminal enterprise wasn't just limited to the parties and the freak-offs. It also involved arson, intimidation, and worst of all, murder. Back to Rodney Jones' lawsuit, he alleges that Diddy had
At this point, I'm not even surprised.
shot someone he disagreed with in the bathroom of his studio. There was a meeting with multiple people, Diddy included, and the victim in question. They started disagreeing on something. Diddy told them to bring the argument to the bathroom, and then after that, you heard shots, and the victim was dead. There are images in the lawsuit of the blood and the clothes that were left in the aftermath in that bathroom, but Mr. Combs instructed his staff to say that this person was shot outside the studio and somehow got away with it. This
Damn.
was just another day in the life of Diddy. At some point, the artist Kid Cudi was getting a bit too friendly with Diddy's ex-girlfriend. What does Diddy do? He firebombs his car, hoping to kill him. Thankfully, he survived. Tupac, a rapper that even people from countries far away from the United States know about, was the target of a very infamous assassination back in 1996. Legally speaking, we still have no idea who did it. Now his family has hired an attorney to investigate a possible link between his murder and Diddy. People think the same thing happened to Biggie Smalls. Even though he was signed to the record label of Diddy, people allege that he had murdered him for disagreements and other reasons back in 1997. 2 years later, in 1999, Diddy admits that Biggie's death actually helped boost his music career and was only positive for him. Who would say that? Who said?
Well, P. Diddy would.
Something like that. It almost sounds like he did it, and it worked. To put it simply, people were terrified of Diddy. This fear extended to everyone, not just in the hip-hop or rap community, but the entire entertainment industry. People knew not to mess with Diddy because he was insane. In Eminem's song called Kill Shot, he says this, "But Kells, the day you put out a hit's the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed, referencing how he thinks that Diddy had killed Tupac. But hell, even Eminem was scared shitless. He ended the song by saying, "And I'm just playing, Diddy, you know I love you." Even he knew that if he pissed off Diddy, he could lose his life. One of the only rappers that didn't care and publicly was against Diddy, even though it could have cost him their life, was 50 Cent. In 2006, he had made a track directly accusing Diddy of killing Biggie Smalls. He made sure to never attend any Diddy party. He would also openly admit in interviews that he felt like something was very off with Sean Combs. And now, of course, people are saying that he was always right. Lastly, I'd like to bring up something else that Diddy did over the years, and that was grooming up-and-coming talents when they were young.
Wait, Justin Bieber, oh my god. Oh fuck, no.
Notably, Usher when he was 13 years old and Justin Bieber when he was 15 years old.
Oh.
But with Justin in particular, we have more footage and more resources to understand exactly what happened over the course of many years. Bieber gained fame when he shared music on his YouTube channel. He was then discovered by an agent in 2008. That was the start of his massive music career. Diddy took notice of this, and in 2009, he reached out and invited Justin Bieber to stay with him in his mansion for 48 hours. Since he was a minor, his parents had to sign off on this, giving him permission. And they did. No doubt being attracted by the money and fame, and I mean seriously, what a terrible decision on their part. Dude is called Diddy. That's like a nickname for Diddler.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even blame those parents. If you see that your child can make out like a bandit and get famous and never work a day in his life, or not really work a day in his life, you would sign it too. Damn.
We could only sit here and imagine what happened during those 48 hours. But what I find interesting is this clip. On an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, Justin Bieber actually brings up those 48 hours. And Diddy's reaction was very interesting to say the least. Watch.
You got me a Lamborghini. It's,
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Now back then this might have seemed innocent. Now when we look at Diddy's body language, we kind of see that he was nervous. Watch it again. Look at him looking around, being a bit nervous, touching his leg, going back and forth, almost like he's hoping that Justin doesn't reveal too much. In 2020, Justin Bieber had an interview talking about his trauma in the music industry, how he felt like he was used, how people didn't have his back like he thought they did, the many challenges he went through, and honestly, it just sounds like a victim of abuse. Someone who was very confused as a kid, someone who was taken advantage of, and someone who's still recovering even today. But over the years, Diddy would keep visiting him. He would keep kind of pressuring him to stay in touch. He wouldn't let him leave no matter what. At a certain point, they met up when Justin was way older, and he patted him down for a wire, thinking that he was working with the feds against him. Look at this. He's trying to keep it discreet, but he's patting him. He's making sure that there's nothing in there. Now, why would you do that if you had nothing to hide, if you weren't guilty? Justin and Usher were obviously not the only ones here. There are many, many tapes that were seized, and some of them are being sold on the dark web. One of those victims is yet another A-list star who didn't reveal their name, but who is horrified at the fact that it's being circulated now, having to relive this trauma. Another star caught in the crossfire is Meek Mill. We have a leaked audio tape of him getting absolutely ass blasted, back shots up the wazoo by Diddy. You could hear both of them. It seemed like Meek Mill was very much into it. But was he actually, or was he forced to do this because Diddy had blackmail on him? We don't know. He kept denying the fact that it even exists, and people have made memes about it because
the poor kids, honestly, fuck. Oh.
The dude is in complete denial. What's interesting is that shortly after this all leaked, Meek Mill almost died in a car accident because his entire pedal came off. People still think that Diddy was behind this to this day, trying to silence him. Who knows? But we're definitely still at the tip of the iceberg, and I'm not sure I want to see what's at the bottom. Especially with how, just recently on October 1st, 120 new accusers came forward saying that they were all minors when they were assaulted by Diddy, with the youngest one being 9 years old.
Holy shit.
And remember, these are just the ones that had the courage to come forward. This guy is devil incarnate. Thankfully, though, he's now being held in a high-security prison in New York, the same one that Jeffrey Epstein was held in. But many people are...
But Epstein actually ended himself, didn't he? Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I would prefer if justice has been served and then he ended himself, but I mean, the evil is gone, so there are worse things. And if Diddy does the same,
are concerned that the same thing that happened to Jeffrey Epstein will happen to him too, where he will perish very mysteriously and suspiciously, and this case will be closed. This prison has a very infamous reputation. Some people call it hell on earth due to its very bad conditions for prisoners. Diddy did everything he could to get bail. Just like any problems that would pop up in his life, he wanted to pay himself out of it, saying he'll relinquish his passports. He won't let females come to his mansion anymore, even though that was never...
Thank you. The problem is solved. I won't get females in my freaking mansion. Only males. Probably below the age of 15.
The problem, among other things, but the judge thankfully said no. Diddy then went ahead and stated that he was feeling suicidal. So of course people are worried that this is going to be a Jeffrey Epstein 2, where he gets the coward's way out and the victims don't get any justice. Or so we thought. A few days later, out of nowhere, he said he wasn't suicidal anymore and was let go of Suicide Watch. Apparently, Suge Knight, a former Death Row Records executive who is currently serving a 28-year sentence for manslaughter...
Oh my fucking god, how... If it's proven to be 100% true, why is this animal still alive? Isn't this in America?
advised Diddy to get out of Suicide Watch immediately, arguing that if he's in there, the legal system will not take him seriously when he tries to defend himself. But, regardless of all this happening, people are still very scared to speak out against Diddy, even though he's in a high-security prison. And that should show you just how much of a menace this man is.
Yeah, he probably has context to... Like, he can pay up a guard easily just so he can bring some information out.
And honestly, I don't see him perishing anytime soon, because unlike Epstein, he wasn't serving the world elite.
Also, this animal at least had some... he's still a coward. I wish the people got justice, but he cannot harm anyone else. So at least this. At least he did this.
Okay, he didn't have a president come to his island. The people he had over were celebrities. Nothing that'll really impact the world order. Either way, with every passing day, the more we know about these freak-offs and what he has done over the last 20 plus years, the crazier things truly become. Not just in terms of how far his evil can go, but also in terms of how many well-regarded and liked celebrities hung out with him quite often. Stay safe out there, guys, and if there's any new big massive developments on this, I'll probably make another video on it, but for
yeah, I'm also gonna dodge it until they actually, well, massive developments. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait until Mujin does it, because he does really fantastic videos. Please show him some love, like, comment, you know the shebangs. Good night, acolytes.